90 years is a long time. So as a result, I decided that rather than before for the next 2 weeks covering the life of Mum, I decided to write it down and read it to you. Otherwise it would have taken a long time. Firstly, on behalf of my brothers, sister, may I welcome you all here today to celebrate Mum's birthday and her life to date. She was born, don't query anything, okay? She was born in 1922 in the Cotswolds and christened Gisette Brain. She has an older brother, John, still up and running, and it's nice to see Mum's sister-in-law lives here today. If not her older brother, who was unable to travel. Unfortunately, Mum's younger brother passed away a number of years ago. Brought up between the two great wars, life was not always easy. Mum and Dad's family losing much during the great slump in 1930. But at the age of 19, Mum met and married Dad in 1941. This being wartime, there was no point in a long courtship. Stepping out, as they called it in those days. Dad was some bit older than Mum and was the last male left to carry on the family name. In 1942, I was born, followed closely by brothers Roger and Richard. All of us were babies. Brother Ian and sister Hilary came along much later. During those early days, or early war years, we lived in Cheltenham. Dad was working at Gloucester Aircraft in the drawing office. When the war ended, shortly after, we headed to the south coast in the Bournemouth area. And we've been well represented ever since in this part of the country. We lived between Kinston and Bear Cross, which was then the border of Hampshire and Dorset, since integrated, of course, with part of the Dorset itself there. Mum lost her mother in the early 30s, when we were still young. How lucky we have been to have held on to our mum so long. I remember that time well, and the sorrow it brought us all. Mum was a very beautiful woman. Striking dark hair, which went totally grey over a very short period. This, of course, being the result of the shock of having 3 boys. Though times in post-war Britain were hard, we also had many good times. Living in the country had a lot of freedom and a great deal of space to play. But we also enjoyed times at home listening to Dad play the piano, for he was an exceptional musician. Sometimes all of us singing along, particularly on a Sunday morning, as we were not allowed out on the streets. Seriously, we weren't allowed out on the streets of a Sunday. So Sunday was spent at home to the smell of Mum cooking Sunday lunch, and later, if being good, Mum might read us a story, or if the weather was fine, if into the car and up to the beach, or even the river on occasion. Once we were old enough, Mum went back to work and became a buyer in the fur department of Bobby's. In Bournemouth, not very PC, is it? All those furs, Mum.
I thought you were a nurse.
That was afterwards.
Oh.
No, we as kids didn't like, because our pocket money went up.
You're not supposed to ask that.
All of us kids went on to leave home, married and continued the family name. Mum can now boast of 35 grandchildren and great-grandchildren, the latest of which was born just a few weeks ago to Natalie and Toby.
Think what it costs her, the poor woman.
Mum has loved them all and will continue to do so. Some cannot be with us today, and others have never come. But she will never forget. But Mum could rebuke us if she thought we deserved it. As kids, we could be little sods. And difficult to control, believe me. Her favourite weapon, when we'd been naughty, was a wooden spoon, a wooden kitchen spoon. She'd try and catch us unaware with a swift whack on the backside before we legged it through the kitchen door. But if we deserved it, she would eventually catch us off guard. On one occasion, she broke the spoon on Roger. He then went out and bought her a new one. Roger, I never quite got the logic. Mum and Dad moved to Corfmullen in about 1959. As three older brothers, all eventually went out our separate ways, leaving just Ian and Hilary at home. Before Mum and Dad finally deciding to move and settling in Blandford, at the house called Milestones. And there lived for many years, along with the ghost. Yes, there was a ghost. All living happily together. Definitely there was a ghost.
Yeah, it was, yes.
Ian and Hilary ultimately leaving home, Mum and Dad then bought a small bungalow which she lived in until Dad passed away. After a time, Mum sold the bungalow and moved into a sheltered accommodation in the centre of Blandford, where she lives now. For many years, Mum worked at Bryanston School as a seamstress for the boys. I also think that she was also a surrogate mother to many of them. Mum would tell of many lonely and sad tales of boys left at boarding school, but she gave them a lot of comfort. Mum and Dad spent a lot of their latter years entertaining in old people's homes, with their music, song, poetry and stories, and Dad doing his party piece, drawing using both hands at the same time. This was done by a piece of glass, and he did both hands at the same time. He really was good at it.
Ambidextrous.
Ambidextrous he was, yes. And how Dad would have loved to have been here today. Mum loved playing cards, and we as kids learned to play many a game on Winter's Eve. And she has continued playing, particularly bridge, for many, many years, and some of her bridge friends are here today. And long may you continue to give Mum and each other so much pleasure.
Yes.
I don't know if you're aware that Mum is a prolific writer of letters. Now, if you've never received one, that's good. That's an indication that you're a good friend. Local authorities, government officers, when confronted by her indignation, she doesn't agree with them. She's also written a romantic novel. With, I understand, naughty bits. Naughty bits, yeah.
Naughty bits.
Very naughty bits.
To avoid my blushes, I've never read it. Yeah, there you go. Mum is also very keen on genealogy. The family tree has been compiled, taking us back a few hundred years. Did he? Right, did he? Did you know that General Scott? Right, didn't he? Hey, did you know that General Scott of the American Civil War is one of our relations and one of yours?
No, I didn't.
There you go, you see? There you go. Right, yeah. Oh, having put the, with our genealogy and family trees, and having put all that in place, our legacy to the future is guaranteed, whatever Mum does in the future, but quite simply, she has sorted us all out for a long, long legacy of family trees. Occasions such as this require organisation and planning. And I would like to thank Roger and Mel for the time they have given to make this party such a success. I would also like to where's Alex? Where are you hiding?
Here.
There he is. Oh, there he is. I'd also like to thank Alex for this wonderful show you've got here.
Yes.
Showing all the embarrassing photographs of us kids. But, thanks, Alex. We appreciate it very much. And if anybody wants to spend a lot of money, Broadstone, what is it? I know I did it right. Broadstone Audio.
That's it. Broadstone Flick, mate. We'll make it for you.
I was never an arty man.
The Christmas one is John.
Anyway, thanks, guys.
His brother.
Right, Mum.
Aye.
Youth is a gift of nature, but age is a work of art. Finally, we all know my mum by a variety of names. Few ever called her by the name she was christened with, Josette. Be it Biddy, Auntie, Grandma, Granny, Great-Grandma, whatever. I ask you to rise and drink her health. With the name you know of.
Grandma.
Yes, Josette.
Cheers. Cheers, Mum.
James.
I'm just going to ask Mum to respond.